After a 13-year hiatus, I finally made it back to Disney World. For those who are about to freak out, yes, Extreme Thrills is going to Disney, well, at least for this video anyways. During my visit, we went to 3 different parks: Animal Kingdom, the Magic Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. And all 3 days we took full advantage, or attempted to anyways, of their new Skip the Line program, Genie Plus. Now, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there discussing this new system, but I thought I have some worthwhile information to share. Being a person that has never been to the parks in quite some time, figuring out it's possible to ride everything all in one day with Genie Plus was a big concern. Or more so, can you do everything without the program? Let's start off with the basics. Genie Plus is Walt Disney World's new Fast Pass program, which is built into the My Disney Experience app. The same app that houses your ticket info, mobile ordering, maps, ride wait times, etc. For $15 per person, guests are able to use the Genie Plus to schedule times to skip the line on certain attractions. Additionally, there are certain specific attractions, the newest ones usually, at each park that are not a part of the Genie Plus, but you can pay an additional fee to access and skip the line for those rides. More about that in a minute. You can make your first skip the line choice, or as it's officially called, lightning lane choice, at 7 a.m. This is across the board available to anyone using Genie Plus, whether you are staying on Disney property or not. Those who are staying on property will be given the option to purchase one of those extra charge lightning lane passes I was mentioning at 7 a.m. I think there is only one ride per park with this feature, and the price to purchase varies from like $11 to $15. This is the outside of the $15 that you pay for Genie Plus. From what I understand, everyone else has the option to purchase these extra charge lightning lane passes once the park opens, but I can say that every day that we were at Disney, by the time it was the park's official opening time, those extra charge lightning lanes were already unavailable. So in other words, if you are looking to skip the standby queue for Rise of Resistance or Flight of Passage, you need to be staying at a Disney resort. So during the making of this video, Disney yet again made another change to the Genie Plus system. Now, you can no longer purchase Genie Plus in advance, and you have to purchase it on the day of your visit. So the earliest that you can purchase it is actually at midnight the day of your visit. It is yet to be seen if Disney will cap the amount of people that can purchase Genie Plus during any given day, but from what the information that's been given to me, I don't expect to see any major changes with the system. Okay, so you make your first lightning lane selection at 7 a.m. Now you will not be able to make another selection until 2 hours after the park opens. So, for example, if you are visiting Magic Kingdom and the park opens at 9 a.m., that means that you can make your first lightning lane selection at 7 a.m. as always, and then your next selection will be at 11 a.m. Genie Plus continues with this pattern, giving you the opportunity to choose another lightning lane pass every 2 hours. These lightning lane passes can overlap. As an example, when I was at Hollywood Studios, I had 4 lightning lanes all scheduled between like 3 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. So yes, you can hold more than one lightning lane at a time. Now that we got the basics out of the way, let's talk the logistics of the day, because how you plan and run your day is going to make or break your Genie Plus experience. Because I was staying at a Disney property via a participating non-Disney resort, I was able to get early access to the parks, but was not able to purchase the extra charge lightning lane for the special rides. Because I knew I wasn't able to purchase one of these extra charge lightning lanes until a minimum of 2 hours after the park opened, for our visit this included Rise of the Resistance, Flight of Passage, and Seven Doors Mine Train. I made sure to make those attractions my top priority, and we planned to rope drop them at park opening. Because we were staying on a Disney property via a non-Disney resort, we were able to get into the parks 30 minutes prior to opening, and this turned out to be a godsend. It might not seem like much, but that extra 30 minutes helped us out tremendously in beating the crowds at the park's top-tiered attractions. So, the first park I went to was Animal Kingdom. I hear that Genie Plus is not needed at this park, but I might disagree. Since we were able to get in early, the gates opened for us at 7 a.m. We went right to the Flight of Passage, and I made my first lightning lane selection for the safari ride. I think it was scheduled for about 9 a.m. Right after the safari ride, I made my second selection of the day, and that was for Navi River Journey, with a return time for 2:15 p.m., I believe. Surprisingly, Navi River Journey had the longest line in the park, clocking upwards of 100 minutes for the entire day. I realized later that I was really lucky to snag this lightning lane for so early because, as I learned in the following days, the busiest attractions will burn through their lightning lane's availability pretty quickly. The other lightning lane selections I made for the day was for the Lion King Celebration Show and Expedition Everest. The line for Expedition Everest never really got longer than 40 minutes, so it wasn't super necessary, but Genie Plus did allow us to snag a second ride without waiting. Overall, yes, you could do Animal Kingdom without Genie Plus, just make sure to follow a good game plan. If you can get in early, head for the busiest attraction first. After that, just keep checking the app to see where the heavy lines are and go for the other attractions. For example, the Safari Ride has moments throughout the day where its wait time went from super long to got pretty reasonable, so just keep checking the app. Our second day was at Magic Kingdom. Same scenario, we got in for early access at 8:30 a.m. I made our first lightning lane at 7 a.m. for Space Mountain. The return time I believe was for around 10:30 a.m. When we arrived at the park, we headed straight for Seven Dwarfs and only ended up waiting about 30 minutes. I wasn't able to make my next lightning lane selection till 11 a.m., which I created for Splash Mountain with a return time for around 4 p.m. A little side note, I noticed that Pirates and Jungle Cruise can stack up huge lines pretty early in the day, and those lines never went down. The lightning lanes for those attractions went fast, so if those rides are top priority, you might want to grab a pass earlier on in the day before they are gone. The next lightning lane I grabbed was for Peter Pan. It was one of the busiest attractions at the park, and our return time was for 7:50 p.m. After that, the next two passes I scheduled were for Tomorrowland Speedway and Winnie the Pooh. I only grabbed the Speedway lightning lanes because we were nearby, but I learned that it was kinda useless. The lightning lane only cuts off part of the queue, and since the line was short, we saved like 0 time with that pass. Our return time for the Winnie the Pooh ride was at 9:30 p.m. after the fireworks. Even that late in the evening, the line was long, so this saved us some time. Oh, and I almost forgot, we also grabbed another lightning lane for Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. This was after Tomorrowland Speedway, and we skipped an over an hour wait, so yeah, that was great. Overall, we were able to accomplish everything we wanted to at Magic Kingdom. The early access really helped, as after riding Seven Dwarfs first thing in the morning, we were able to snag rides on Little Mermaid and Dumbo right before the crowds showed up, making the wait times for those two attractions rather long for the rest of the day. Literally, as we were getting off of Dumbo, the wait time for that ride went from like 10 minutes up to like 60 minutes. So yeah, this very much helped. The longest lines that we waited in were for Big Thunder Mountain and Pirates, both about 40-minute wait. Genie Plus was really useful at the Magic Kingdom and saved us a lot of time. The final park that we visited was Hollywood Studios. This is where Genie Plus was very helpful, but you also need to be very aggressive and on top of those Genie Plus selections. I'll explain why. Early access started at 7:30 a.m., meaning that I had already selected my first lightning lane at 7 a.m. I was actually making my selection as I was walking through security. My first lightning lane selection was for Slinky Dog Dash, and literally within seconds of it being 7 a.m., the earliest slot I could get was for 4:10 p.m. By 7:10 a.m., all the lightning lanes were completely booked for Slinky Dog, Tower of Terror, and Rock and Roller Coaster, which ended up closing down and not being open for the rest of the day, but yeah, those 3 attractions went really fast. Oh, and the same for the Rise of the Resistance. The extra charge lightning lane was gone by about 7:20 a.m. Knowing this, we rope dropped Rise of the Resistance, and with our early access to the park, we got through the entire queue and ride experience in about 60 minutes. The wait for the rest of the day never fell below 120 minutes, so again, early access really helped us out. Since the park didn't open until 8 a.m., my next selection was available at 10 a.m., and I grabbed it for Mickey Mouse Runaway Railroad. It was for 3:30 p.m. This was my biggest mistake of the day. I had the opportunity to grab a lightning lane for the Minnie and Mickey meet and greet, but I chose poorly and went with the Runaway Railroad. It wasn't a bad choice because it's a bad ride. No, it's really great, but the line for that attraction started to dwindle by 3:30 p.m. and it dropped down to only a 40 to 50 minute wait from that time on. The meet and greet ended at 5 p.m. and the wait time skyrocketed upwards of 90 plus minutes, so we never did get to meet Minnie and Mickey. The reason why I didn't select the Minnie and Mickey meet and greet was because the app told me that around 3 o'clock the line would get shorter, so I trusted it, and it actually ended up being the complete opposite. My next pick was for the Alien Saucer ride, mostly because all the quote-unquote good attractions were already completely booked, though Toy Story Mania became briefly available earlier in the afternoon, and I snagged a return time for around 5:50 p.m. It helps to keep refreshing the list because sometimes people will cancel a lightning lane, making a time slot open up. You have to move fast because they go really quick. Genie Plus was useful at Hollywood Studios mostly because it helped us skip the Slinky Dog Dash line, which had a 100+ minute wait. However, don't expect to get much use out of it with the other attractions. As I said, the major attractions all sold out within 10 minutes of becoming available. By 2 p.m., which is about halfway through their operating day, all the mid-tier attractions had their lightning lanes sold out, leaving you with the Muppet shows and other bottom-tiered attractions that really didn't have a wait anyways. So, in the end, is Genie Plus worth the additional $15? I say yes and no. It was definitely worth it at Magic Kingdom, and even though we couldn't make a lot of selections throughout the day at Hollywood Studios, it still saved us some good time. At Animal Kingdom, you really don't need it, especially if you have early access. Just head for Flight of Passage and skip Navi River Journey because it's super lame. Honestly, it was probably the biggest disappointment of my trip. If you really hate lines, Genie Plus is handy at Animal Kingdom, but I think you can do that park without it. Now, if you don't have the early access, Genie Plus will still definitely be helpful. However, getting in that extra 30 minutes early every day really made our day go much smoother. Honestly, spending more money to stay at a Disney resort might be the better option over shelling out more cash each day for Genie Plus. Remember, it's $15 a day, so with a family of 4, that's $60 a day, which can add up really fast depending on how many days you are visiting. With that said, Genie Plus seems to be best suited along with the early access, but it doesn't mean that you need both to enjoy the parks. Depending on who you are visiting the parks with, will determine which attractions you should try to snag a lightning lane for versus the ones that you can just wait in line. Alright, to recap, 7 a.m. is the earliest time that you can create your first lightning lane, and make sure you jump on that exactly at 7 a.m. Your next lightning lane will be available to book 2 hours after the park opens, and a new one is available to book every 2 hours from then on. And you can have overlapping lightning lane ride times. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this video was useful. This was not typical Extreme Thrills content, but I thought it was valuable data to share. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you continue to get more great content brought to you by Extreme Thrills.